I know there was some questions, I'm not sure if that got related to you as far as how the language should be in that, amended.
We can just, yeah, we can just amend this. If that's council's desire, y'all can vote to have that.
So we need to
Come
change
forward.
it. So look at their request, I think.
I can do that. any problem.
Is that
We,
improper?
we can't amend the ordinance tonight.
I think you can make a motion to instruct legal counsel to come back next meeting and ordinance for y'all's consideration.
Correct.
All right, so can I hear a motion to ask legal counsel to help us amend the ordinance from the current state of 9 people to 7 people, is that right, Mr. Austin?
It's 7 or fewer, just as long as we can have a quorum. So 7 and not like it's a 5.
7 as long.
Have an action item for the next council meeting.
Bush, so moved. Second.
Discussion.
Yes. I suggest we keep it at 7, because we got 7 members now, we do some 5, 2 have to go.
No, I think the discussion was having 7 or 7, no less than 5. In case somebody does decide to part ways, so we can still have a quorum.
Step off
Right.
or move, like a person
They
move
may-
one person off. But if we
They
keep
would
it at
just
7,
get
it's gonna be
replaced. I
specific.
think we need a definitive specific number of members, we can't have a choice of members.
So let's just max it to amend it to 7.
Got it. So the motion would be, so do we restate the motion, if I restate the motion for that?
I make a motion for legal counsel to amend the park board ordinance to reflect 7 members.
We'll bring that back first reading.
First reading, minutes, do I have a second?
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Uh,
All opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Board of Zoning Appeal.
Good evening, Town Council. I am Dan O'Hara, the planning manager. I may ask, can I present for the Board of Zoning Appeals Planning Commission and Planning Department all at once?
Yes.
So you want to present for the Board of Zoning Appeals, move to the planning commission, and then go to the planning department. That's fine.
So the Board of Zoning Appeals met on Monday, February 2nd, 2026, to approve the minutes from the January meeting, but also to approve the final order of facts of finding for application 2510-03. The order will be made available for viewing until the property owner is notified and we've received of that notification. We just want to make sure that they saw it first before anyone in the general public about it. As far as the planning commission goes, in January, they met 3 times, as I mentioned last month. Some of the key actions from the planning commission in January were that they recommended that town council approve ordinance 2026-01, which is the moratorium ordinance. And they recommended town council to defer any action on ordinance 2026-04, which is the amendments to the tree preservation ordinance, until town council can hear from an expert on this matter. Of course, staff will have a more detailed account of the planning commission's recommendations at second reading of both of those ordinances. I just wanted to brief you on those decisions. Next item was that the planning commission denied a proposed 13-lot subdivision for a vested planned development known as Sheldon Crossing, which was just on Highway 17. The planning commission finalized 2 proposed ordinance to the town's code of ordinances. A proposed ordinance to adopt a vested rights policy and a proposed ordinance to amend the planning development regulations. Once these ordinances have been prepared in final draft form by staff, they will be presented to town council for consideration at first reading. This month in February, the planning commission will be meeting twice. The regular scheduled meeting for the 16th will be shifted to the 17th in the observation President's Day, and they have a special called meeting on the 23rd. Both meetings will take place at the regular times at 6 o'clock. The planning commission will be reviewing ordinances 2026-05, 06, and 07 at the 17th meeting. The agenda for that regular scheduled meeting will be posted next week. As far as planning department updates go, we issued 6 zoning permits during the month of January. Planning department is looking to co-host a community seminar with the Clemson Extension on septic systems, to do a community education session on maintenance and inspections. We'd be looking to do something in the first week of March. Staff are prepared to send out a community-wide detail regarding that session next week. And we're available Monday through Thursday, 8 to 5. If anyone has any questions about any planning or zoning matters. Or town council tonight.
I have a question, but it's actually for our corporation council. The final order was presented in an open public meeting. I don't, I'm unaware of any privacy or privilege attached to that. It should be available to the public to see.
I think now that it's been approved
Okay.
and we've mailed it, it's probably.
Because I'd like to see a copy. of it.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's been finalized, signed and mailed out, so we can send a copy, but I think the thought was we wanted to make sure that it got approved, so there was no question that there was any sort of influence on the DSGA prior to the approval.
Correct.
But we,
Send me a copy, please.
Of course,
Or actually, probably everybody. I don't know if y'all want to see it.
I can forward that.
All right, I will say our planning commission, Ms. Casino, Mr. Hardy, Mr. Riker, Mr. Gardner, I saw it before. What a great discussion.
They're very knowledgeable.
We got engineers, we got like Ms. Casino, she writes ordinances for towns for a living. She's volunteering to do it. Two engineers, builders, it's just, and we're doing a great job. Thanks for, thank you. Thank you for your budget here. Yeah. All right, let's move on to housing.
The only thing I have for housing is our monitoring is coming up on February the 13th. They'll be coming here to go over what we already have.
I saw that. We've got a lot going on in the housing pipeline, and there's work going on to spend down the monies we have now, so we can be available for the next round of monies that are earmarked for us. So good work.
Yes.
The question, Don, how
When is that? The next round, it's here, Mark, for the town, when is that affected?
that is, like that. It looks like we got the next round of money is available as soon as we finish the round we're on now. So we're looking inside and what do you think?
If we can complete it, it'll be ready for us to collect on in September. But if it's not completed, then it'll go over into the next month, which will be the following August. But we have to complete the 87,000 that we're working on now.
No. I guess we'll get to it later in the agenda, then I would desperately, no,
Yeah, I think we're gonna crack that now.
you know.
All right, which leads us to water. Nobody has any further questions for housing, and leads us to water.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Last month, I brought a request before you to have emergency funds to spend to repair one fire hydrant and replace another. I put it out on bid, and we had 3 quotes. One of them decided he couldn't do it at the time. Another one wrote a letter and said that he hadn't been able to get out here without procedure going on. So I think we got one bid. I then recommended these, since I talked to the fire department, that we put this off for another month. Allow me to try to get some more bids, but at the same time, check with our insurance agency, we can find out what we might be able to do in insurance standpoint. I want to know from, what umbrella, usually is like $8,000 or $9,000 from maximum, so it's under the $10,000 limit, which is probably the level of which umbrella should cut off that to pay that in the way, so. Anyway, it's worth looking at to see if we have insurance to cover it. If one person, the bumpy one we just gotta fix, he's gonna pay for it, he knows that, if he hit into this, lawnmower, it's really ride lawnmower, bump it and knock it. loose at the base. The other one, somebody ran under it and just totally smashed it flat, and the barrel is literally floating. And, whoever it is got a bad call or something, truck or something, but we don't know who it is. Beyond that, the one thing that we've talked about, and we've talked about it in other times, is that you need to loop this system in more places than we can. I had 4 contractors who are actually active and working in the development right now, that agreed to do that, meet their water systems at their cost. And it's, we're gonna continue that, just like, the preserve TV sound, phase 1 and 2, they're gonna loop the system at their price. The Norway Bay phase, preserve phase 1 and 2, they're gonna loop that system at their cost. The CB Landing, is willing to loop their system, but we need a easement across Mr. Scott's property for doing Maxwell Road. I'll give him a letter in December, and he's in New York, never got an answer from my next. City getting us a week, another certified receipts of question, but he gets it. And if I'm not that, then I need some help on how to get a hold of it in New York. As to what we can do, either give me a yes or a no, let me know. There's, it would really help our system, especially all the people in that, as well as his own development. So, I'm gonna follow through on that, but I really like the idea. We've had 4 developers agree to meet their systems and all the units, and we're gonna keep asking and keep developing the system. It'll save us money, not having to flush as many times, and it'll save us by keeping the ones moving in the right direction. With some of the sulfide problems, but not as well. We still have to take care of that at the water units. That's all I have. Questions?
Why don't we require people to loop it like Charleston Water Service and Mount Pleasant Water Works?
I didn't write the ordinance.
No, I mean, but would that be,
That's a-
would that be your professional recommendation that we have a requirement that
Part of the
people,
ordinance. of the
that
town.
you, may I finish?
Yes, sir.
Would it be your professional recommendation that the town council adopt an ordinance to require developers, homeowners, whoever ties into the system to loop it whenever possible and to provide there are other techniques that can be used that will help if you don't loop it, but nobody's going to do it if we don't make them do it because it costs money. But every other water service provider, you name them, they all require. The town has never required.
Agreed.
And it's long past time that we do. Could you write something up for us or make some recommendations?
I can.
That'd be great. Thank you.
You made the condition on one of your statements, loop it whenever possible. Now,
Right.
that kind of I mean, what does it look like to loop, for a developer to loop a system?
Well, if the given how big the system is, if you got a piece of property that's narrow and
Right.
50 yards long or whatever, looping is another thing. If
Looping is what?
if looping is another thing.
Yeah.
But if they're
Meaning it's not-
putting in a water system where you're gonna have a fire hydrant at the end of their cul-de-sac, let's say.
Right.
There is a device that you can buy and attach to the fire hydrant, and it will automatically, on a timer, blow off the system without just having to go out there and do anything about it. It's a cost, but it's an alternative if you can't lift the system.
Right.
Then, this would be a little like.
I'm a visual kind of guy and I see our, the shape of our town is long and skinny with some long sections of main that had no taps on them. And I'm having trouble visualizing a loop.
Okay,
Um,
for instance, the track over here off Door Road, which is the Romaine Bay Preserve. It's 2 phases, they're going in off of Door Road in phase 1, and then phase 1 is tying into the back of phase 2, and phase 2 is tying back into Door Road. Just
Oh, yeah.
like the horseshoe,
I can see that. I can see a loop there.
that's what they're doing. That's the same thing with 3 out of the 4 of these. It's okay
Okay.
to Seaway Landing, and it goes from Seaway Road to within
Right.
200 feet maximum.
You and I talked about that, and I'd love to see if we can't get that gentleman to respond. I'll help you.
I'll write up something for ordinance and, I think it's a great idea, but
I have another question. This time last year, we were in drought conditions. And, I know I got more than my share of, letters and, emails and what have you from people that were upset with the smell of their water. I'm happy to report I haven't seen any of those emails this year. I guess one reason is we're not in drought conditions. But the other reason be the chlorine
we're,
doodad that we put in.
we're handling that with using plant one. Plant one is the only plant you're going to plant two is in reserve,
Mhm.
and it's set not to come on unless it's absolutely necessary.
Mhm.
Plant one has less hydrogen sulfide
Right,
that have to be taken care of than plant two by about 2 to 1.
yeah,
So we keep that one off, that takes care of it. That only comes on if it's an emergency problem.
mhm,
You'll get some more information on that when you guys get to the retreat later on. I got a nice document that y'all have to read, and you get it time for your pilots. Yeah. Any other questions?
The, there's an impact fee for developers of our water system.
It's my understanding, you can ask the attorney, but I think that 2 or 3 years ago, they was brought up to the county council, and I think it was tabled at one time, and nothing ever happened after that. So, if you had impact fee money somewhere down the line, you're gonna have to either increase the size of the wells that you have, and you're gonna have to find another place to put in a well. That takes money. And, impact fees is, what I call it is, it's a buy-in. You wanna use my lot, then here's, it costs you $5 a car to put your cars on my lot. You wanna use my water system, it's X number of dollars to tie into the water system. These people have already paid for it, they don't have to pay an impact fee. If you're coming in, you want 20 lots or 50 lots, you need to pay an impact fee. That's what it is. Yeah, as you subdivide property, you're not a developer.
So you're not, you don't have impact fee for these developers that are developing.
I don't believe you do, and it's highly technical, the town has to, like, get a consultant to do specific studies, you gotta specify what you're gonna spend it on, spend it within a certain amount of time. And I'm not an expert on impact fees, there are lawyers at my firm that have litigated that stuff and know it like the back of their hand, but like, if that's something the town wants to consider, we certainly can deal with that at a retreat, or brief you and Catherine on it, and get some info.
We deal with it at a retreat.
Sure, but what, the basic, premise of that is to extend the system. Our system is, pretty much, at least where it is now, it's built, right? And
The
it was,
system or replace what's been used by.
no, you cannot use impact fee to replace existing components.
I'll leave that to the attorneys on my.
Well, I know for a fact that you can't. It can't be used for operations or maintenance, it's a capital expenditure, that's right, it has to be regulated by the capital improvement plan. And it's basically to expand something that you don't have. But the lines that we have in the ground now, we can't charge people an impact fee with high limit bills. I think that's what the facility fee is for, that the town wasn't charging. We were just charging the tap fee, the facility fee. In fact, a lot of places, if you look at it, research it online, those terms are analogous. The impact fee, capacity fee, same. You're reserving capacity in an existing system. And the tap fee is what you pay to actually connect to it. But anyway, it's
Who knows that kind of thing? You know that.
Yeah,
That was professional for 30 years.
first job I had with the town of Mount Pleasant was hired as a private contractor to develop their impact fee system.
Amazing. And Ron, 10 words or less, what is this?
It's a tap, where we made a tap on the 12-inch water main for one of the developers to tie in their subdivision. They put a saddle around the 12-inch main with a valve on it, they go through the valve, they cut that out and pull the plug out of it, you know, and they're ready to tie it into their system. So that is a PVC C900 8-inch tap out of the 12-inch one.
Thank you very much. No, I have any further questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that brings us to number 12. Council report, Councilwoman Helms, has a report.
I, first off, wanted to thank each of you who attended. They were very engaged. You guys were very proud of them. They jumped right in and meeting and shaking hands with legislators and making connections and relationships. And I know Mayor Crawley's already called up. I got a lengthy email from the director of one of our federal representatives. It was a lot to digest. I decided to pause that till tomorrow, but just know that these new members are really working hard. But one thing that I've been interested in recently was the South Carolina Department of Transportation. And I was thrilled to see they were on the agenda. The secretary came and spoke, and it was eye-opening. You would not know that South Carolina is fourth in the nation for state maintained roads. Fourth in the
Miles of roads.
miles, over 40,000 miles of roads
Seriously.
are maintained by the state. Now, that's a big distinction. There are states who have more miles of roads, but they are maintained on a smaller government level, either the county or the town level. But it's of the top 5, it's South Carolina, North Carolina, and Virginia. I think Texas is the only one naturally, because everything's bigger in Texas. And so that's a lot. And they have a $2.7 billion budget with a $1 billion shortfall. So you might hear in the news some things they're talking about modernizing the DOT, bringing probably some of their internal systems, their processes more up to date. But the takeaway, and we have a population of over 5 million people, and by the reports I've been reading, 30 more people a day are. So not just the over 5 million people that live here, but you think about the thoroughfares of Interstate 85 and upstate where I'm from, Interstate 95, as well as Florida, all the way up through DC, and past that, all these people are traveling through South Carolina, and just the impact that has on our roadways. And so I know that we've got that connection, hopefully now, where we can start building a relationship with our regional director. And so that's where we really need to focus our request. One thing that you might want to just pay attention to if you're reading the news, as I said, these are state maintained roads. But there is some movement in the state house where they're talking about transferring roads to the local level. Now, currently, it would be voluntary. We'll see how that works out in the future. And so they're working on a list of non-essential roads by the county. They're looking to do incentives to local government to take over that maintenance. That would affect militaries and property taxes, and we don't get to pick and choose what roads we take. It's like an all or none situation. And so I would just encourage y'all to stay tuned in to that on the state level. I wouldn't say we're equipped to take over big roads. We did talk to them about our concerns with the ditches. And how it might not seem like a big deal, but it does when we have these torrential thunderstorms or even tropical storms, and how it really affects the safety of our citizens. And so I don't know if anybody else was interested in that, but I was really interested to know more about that. There were a lot of other good takeaways, I took a lot of notes on every piece of paper I could find. But that was the big one, because I know we have a lot of concerns about all the development of the trucks, you know, the intersection of 17 and CV, now 17 and Dora. So just know, we're trying, but hearing that we're fourth in the nation to maintain roads, we're like, we're gonna do that to be a much squeakier wheel to get people's attention. But the mayor has made a connection, hopefully, where we can start building a good relationship with the regional person.
Very good. Any questions for Councilman?
That's all I know.
So the hometown legislative action day is basically, municipal elected official education. Where we're asked to go to Columbia and spend 2 days, full classroom days, spend the night. And become educated to be better elected officials. And that's where Councilman Hill, I don't know if y'all understood that, was the premise of where we learned so much about the DOT, which was mind boggling. I was like, did he say billion or billion? Like, they've got 3 different contractors, one working on one end of I-26, one working on the outer end of I-26, and somebody's working in the middle. Billions of dollars on bridges and roads, and what happens, I don't know, we get overlooked because we're rural. You know, because there aren't that many of us here or something like that, and we're making connections and developing relationships to change that. We're going to have relationships with the county, the state, and different funding sources to make sure we're taking care of our roads and our ditches for drainage and for public safety. It was a great event, and we sent a very talented delegation to our capital city. Participate in hometown legislation day, and Mr. Simmons was there. We wrote it together, and Ms. Gasper was there, and Ms. Helms was there, and we were all very proud. When they graduated, their NEO graduates which is municipal elected official graduates, and you gotta have 25 hours of education, and then you're recognized for past and course after you learn about budgeting and FOIA and governance and ethics and all the fascinating things that make you a better municipal official. And our own Councilwoman Wendy Helms graduated. You got to see her walk and get her piece of paper we gave a big hometown whoop for the demonstrate. And it was eye-opening, as it continues to be, with the humility and respect for what we've been elected to do, and we're working hard and getting better. And there's, you know how it started? The keynote speaker came all the way from Utah, and her whole discussion was about dignity and how we treat each other with dignity and respect. And that's the way the whole thing, that was the theme of the deal, is how citizens interact with the government and all that sort of thing. And it was so good, so very well put on by the Municipal Association of South Carolina. It was just great. Can't wait to go again next year, and then we'll get our diploma, John. Let's see, that's the start of the unfinished business of the mayor's report. Let me tell you about the HVAC update. We have tens of thousands of dollars of equipment in the attic, ducts have been run, vents and returns have been cut. We have our great people at Jack Services out of Somerville found us a better product than they had originally quoted, made in South Carolina, like just about $5,000 cheaper on total bid. So that install is happening. Berkeley Electric Co-op, BEC, they love y'all. They like BEC will do for all of them. And they put us way ahead of their boarding schedule. They boarded 4-inch main to handle the 400-watt breaker. It is done. I don't know if you saw the power pole that's on the lawn out there. Like, nobody gets that kind of attention from BEC. And BEC, if you look at the town of Allenville, BEC was here from the beginning. they were instrumental and like they paid the lawyer to incorporate the county. So BEC and all of them, we've got a great relationship there. Our
The
last,
president is a citizen.
and the president is a citizen of Illinois, apparently he likes pound cake. So,
Oh, probably two slices.
the last bit to get going and get done has to do with our electrical contractor, and we asked them politely to sharpen their pencil, and they came off their bid by $4,700. They are Savick, and they are waiting on an electrical permit. And I don't know what it means if the mayor calls the permit office and says, hey, like, could you please? But that's what we're waiting on, is that electrical, that's the slow moving part of our otherwise quickly moving situation with HVAC. And this significant and necessary upgrade to our town hall, to our community building, was after we fixed the roof, after the previous council fixed the roof. After we made it so you weren't gonna fall through the floor, right, after you all, there's a lot of work that got done this last session to get all of that ready. And the HVAC, once we need to talk about replacing the windows and putting an RFP out for that. And creating some insulation, I can see daylight through the soffits when I go up in the attic to see what the contractor can do. You gotta protect our investment, you gotta protect our equipment. Great work by the previous town council on getting that all done. And then, the next item on unfinished business is, reschedule the town administrative evaluation. An action item, and I think that means we can find the day and the time that works for everybody. As I understand this is a personnel issue, so this will be a executive session meeting. Where according to the town administrative contract, she deserves a 1-year administrative review of her performance, and it's overdue, and we need to find a date to do it. Am I covering the basics on that? Yep. All right, so. We had talked about the time frame to get this done quickly. We've talked about looking at dates that look like February 19th, 17th, 18th, 19th. Can you all access the calendar? We'll definitely need a forum, and we'll need Councilor Helms and Browser and Brown present for sure, as you have the experience and evaluation. So what do y'all look like on the, what's a better day to avoid the basketball game, on the 18th?
You wanted to avoid the month.
Right. 17 and 18 are fine. For me,
Not the 17th, so 18th is fine.
All right, and then.
Tuesday, what time?
the Wednesday.
So that's a Wednesday, February 18th. I know that this is true, that we don't have these council meetings any earlier than we do. Because because people work and charge them to get here, so 7:30 is when it's most suitable for people. I know. Mr. Porche has to come from work.
I'm off the meetings.
Oh, are you?
I don't have meetings.
Okay, so if we can do a different time than the 7:30, because it's an executive session, which means you can show up and could say, let's pledge allegiance, say a prayer, but now we're going into executive session. But if we do, does anybody have an objection of doing it at a different time than 7:30? All right, somebody should call a time on that. I think I've got a VA appointment of my old veteran at 11. You could go try like, what works, like 4 o'clock or something? Does that get you home from? Yep. There.
I was temporary that day at 11 something.
Three all day.
Or longer time.
Other than that, good loading.
I was giving myself plenty of time at the VA, my appointment.
Oh,
was 11,
okay.
12, 1, 2, 3, 4, something. If it takes longer than I want to leave.
Or it's fine.
All right, so I would entertain a motion for an executive session for the purposes of the town administrator annual evaluation on Wednesday, February 18th, beginning at 4 p.m.
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right. All right, so our next is new business, and if you're following along, you want to turn to page 8. Okay. All right, scheduled town council retreat and budget retreat. So this is an action item as well, so we'll need to make a decision here. Is it, so let's talk about this for a second. The town council retreat, this isn't, we're not, this isn't a multi-day thing, this is just a full day thing, is that correct?
Usually not.
I just do. All right, this is also, this is not an executive session, that's correct, this is an open.
There can be an executive session, but it's,
Within-
most of it is.
Open session. And what's the expedient, how quickly do we need to get this done? Pretty quick, I would think, we can get on this budget pretty quick.
We need to have council retreat with list our priorities so that Catherine can then build a budget. A draft budget.
Now I've got you all here, like I can't talk to you unless we're all here because it's illegal. But Catherine has to bring the priorities to her evaluation. Is that like whatever your hopes, dreams and visions are for
The budget?
for the fiscal year, like things you'd like to get accomplished?
I think that's per her contract. I think the idea is you tell her what you want her to accomplish and then you evaluate her on how she's done in accomplishing those things.
Right, but that's not necessarily just budget items.
Correct.
No.
Correct.
Brian, are you off? Everyone's
It's for
Yeah, let's
What's your next,
yeah, good call.
Wednesday,
or what's your next round of meeting?
23rd, 24th, 25th, 26th.
23rd is Monday, I'm open on 23rd.
Nine, 10, first part of that week.
What month?
That
Yeah,
was-
We got planning commission meeting between the,
I'm open on Thursday, you said through the 26th, Rodney?
26th, yes.
what
Back
month?
on Thursday, the 26th.
February.
I like
It's March and April. What month?
February,
February.
I thought it's usually March and April.
right, we're trying to get Catherine more time to do the budget, so we're pushing it fast.
Okay.
Because we have that public hearing on the budget.
Yeah, the municipal association says 5 months. It's been moving, but
Am I jumping the gun with February?
no,
All right, February Thursday, the 26th. For town council retreat. Yeah, conflicting zero, so it's good. 92 time frame. I would entertain a motion that we schedule our town council retreat on February 26th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m.
So move.
second,
Discussion. Hearing none. I'll call the vote, all in favor,
aye,
all opposed. My motion carries. And then what's the proper interval between the council retreat and the budget retreat? Are those?
Usually about a month.
we need to ask them to do a lot.
It's usually about a month. We have your good March then.
So if we say about a month. You'll have to guide me on this because I don't really. Is it a month? Can we do it in a month? And then Robin, can you see your 4-on-4 off scheduling for about the same time in April?
Make sure we can.
It'll be the end of March.
March, sorry, yeah, month. Are you all on the 24th, Tuesday, the 24th?
No. I'm on the 19th, 20th, 21st, 22nd. 27th, 28th, 29th, 30th.
27th, 28th, those are, you ought to be off on the weekend. How about that 30th, how about March 30th
Monday,
is a Monday, yeah? You're off.
I'm good.
And is it the same like time parameters, 9 to 2? It's not gonna be enough time to do it. Anybody have a conflict with the budget retreat being on Monday, March 30th from 9 to 2? All right, I entertain a motion that we schedule our budget retreat for March 30th from 9 AM to 2 PM.
So. Second.
Discussion. Hearing none, call the vote, or all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, there, we got through that, good work, everybody. Looking forward to, getting that work done. And for, you said February 26th for the county council meeting. All right, we need to schedule a public hearing and a second reading on the following ordinances. Do I need to read all of the words that were says?
Actually, not adopting. I think this is just figuring out when y'all wanna have these heard.
Just I don't think that we want to do that one.
Correct, yeah, this is again, just kind of find you could have it at special call meeting, you could have it at council retreat, kind of whenever y'all want to take it up.
Right, and we'll have to, for a public hearing. We will need to advertise that in the papers, so we can get some days on that, 10 days, for land issue from 30 days. And
Yes. Dan, you have any, yeah, land development, 30 days, zoning, 15 days, public notice, do you have any? Is there anything we're waiting on or that we need before these get set?
Yes, he just shared that with us.
Yeah, so, just your attention, number 2, 2026-04, the Tree Preservation Planning Commission requested deferral. So, you can hear that at second hearing, and with the public hearing, but, Planning Commission did kind of put that forth. So if y'all wanted to have a expert kind of come back and Planning Commission talk about other things and then make an additional recommendation, that's up to y'all's discretion. Ordinance is 2026-05, 2026-06, and 2026-07 have not been heard before the Planning Commission yet, so those would need to be heard before a second reading could take place. Additionally, 2026-05 is the one that would alter the land development regulations, which would trigger a 30-day public hearing.
So. If these haven't been heard by the planning commission yet. Where did they come from? How are they here?
They went to council for first reading, for the pending ordinance document, then they got a recommendation
So
to.
who sent them to council? Dan, did you send them?
Yes, so with conversations with town council members, those were proposed at the special call meeting on the 15th of January, I believe.
I was not there.
Sorry. Okay. But yeah, so like I said, 2026-05, 2026-06, and 2026-07 have not been heard.
Who's getting it together? The planning commission or council or you or?
They asked staff to find one. We've engaged with an individual from the Audubon Society. And then,
Circulus.
there was a written recommendation from a resident and also engineer that was provided to town council before the hearing. That individual has talked to staff previously and to planning commission. That individual is pretty knowledgeable about the development field, so to get multiple takes on it, it might not be a bad idea to consider an arborist and then someone that's familiar with development.
I guess my only charge to
Okay.
you with not to delay. Like, if you can't get it by, if you're not able to meet with them, let's say by the next council meeting. You need to come with another, right, like, hey, we tried. Trying it, or we're gonna. Keep moving.
Well, likewise, though, I think we need planning commission, I mean, that's why they're there.
They're receiving these, I know, but we needed, the issue was we had one to do it, so then we needed to tweak. First and second, we were parent issues. But these 5050607 are being considered by planning commission this before the end of this month, correct?
Correct, yes, so those will all be heard at the 17th. I could discuss with the planning chairperson about penciling in the tree ordinance back either at the 17th or the 20th.
So why can't we just schedule the public hearing for the next council meeting? Like we normally do.
So I think Mac's gonna be able to direct us here pretty well. Like, what I'm looking at is number 3, 4, and 5. Haven't been heard by the commission yet. And so we should wait and do anything until they all.
Right, you're doing 6 weeks.
Right.
Weekends.
So Mac, help us out on that. How do we act on 3, 4, and 5?
So is it 30 days, 100 days again?
Number 3.
30 days for 2026-05, the others are all 15.
So number 3 is 30 days.
There's a- One, 4, 5.
So it depends on, like, it depends on if y'all wanna take all of these up at the same time, or if you wanna do them at different times, cause if you wanna do them all at the same time. We ought to do the public hearing 30 days after the planning commission meets and schedule it, either 30 days or later.
The 30 days after the next week's meeting.
We will prepare that for that.
And then 2, planning commission requested that y'all defer it while they get a tree expert. Under state law. Ordinance is deemed recommended by planning commission if they don't act within 30 days. So if council wants to take that up, y'all can, despite planning commission's request. And I think the reason I would put it in statute is if planning commission just kept deferring something, but council wanted to take it up, they could. So you basically, if planning commission doesn't do anything within 30 days, it's deemed recommended and y'all can take action. Y'all also can honor their request and wait and take it up after that study's done. So totally up to y'all, it's a policy decision. And then numero uno, number 1, moratorium. That has been read by council, that has been heard or recommended by planning commission. And what's the date the moratorium runs currently? It's sometime in March.
I wanna see this big.
So that one I would take up, once we advertise that, we wait 15 days, and then y'all can take that one up. So I think the sooner we take that one up, probably the better.
March meeting, correct, then
It could, but that's cutting it
we need
close.
to do it sooner.
I would feel more comfortable if y'all did it sooner.
We could, at the retreat on the 26th. We could get an add-in, I think we'd have enough time to get that add-in to the posted courier for that.
I think that's a good recommendation. I think numero uno was deliberate vocabulary. I think we could add, what I would suggest is we add that ordinance 2026-01, that number 1 on the list. To the already scheduled meeting on the 26th. We make sure the ad goes in on time, give us the 15 days. I would be inclined to accept the deferral from the commission on the trees. And this could be just like, let that continue to get informed by experts. We've already got the,
Well, that's what Stan and I was talking about. I mean, I think that's okay, but if they can't get a tree expert or. I mean, I think we'll know within 30 days if they're gonna get a tree expert or
yeah,
not.
I think they're on track.
We have
They
to.
got it going, they're learning as they go. We've done some more, the more you know, we need to know. So can we leave that, can we leave the 2026-04 alone for now, and just accept the deferral recommendation?
I think there's some additional discussion and work on some of these others as well.
Yeah, I think 3, 4, and 5, but maybe we can hear all of those at once. And base them on that 30-day, the 30-day legality on the land, on the 2026-05. But again, we can try to follow, pick something 45 days out or something, how would you suggest we schedule that?
I think really when y'all feel confident that you've got enough information already to take them up. The reason these started in council is that triggered the pending ordinance doctrine, meaning if somebody came in and tried to submit plans to the town. Because these received first reading approval, their plans will ultimately be subject to comply with what these ordinances ultimately say, and so. Yeah, and so there's not, there's less of a time pressure now that those have been read one time by council.
That makes sense.
Except for number 1,
Except for
Yeah,
one.
6, 7.
which we're gonna read on the 26th, right?
Yes.
The 26th of what?
February.
February, the council retreat. That what I'm talking about?
Otherwise, it expire on us.
Is that what you're talking about? February 26th at the council retreat?
Yes.
Okay, well, I have one other question and concern. Once the public hearing, once the planning commission makes a recommendation. If there's a change in what they recommend after the public hearing, it has to go back to the planning commission before the second reading can be final. So it's 10 days. So that's a consideration.
Right. Does that interfere with
Depends.
our motivation to do this?
What you just said, I agree with you, but say it, so if. You're saying if planning commission makes a recommendation. And then the ordinance changes after the public hearing on it. It's gotta go back to planning.
Yeah, the state, I mean, the code's written really well, you know that.
Yeah.
But it basically says no change to the map or the text of the zoning ordinance shall be made pursuant to the public hearing without the planning commission approval, or excuse me, the planning commission.
Well, first being recommended by planning.
So if a public hearing is before the planning commission, which a lot of jurisdictions do that, in fact, the planning commission holds the public hearing. If they make their recommendation after the public hearing, no problem. But if, as it is here, the public hearing happens after their recommendation. So with what is changed, and what we want to put in place in final reading is after the public hearing, it has to be first reviewed by the planning. Which, I mean, if we do something different than what they recommend, it goes back and they would either have to do it at their next regular scheduled meeting, or they'd have to call a special meeting.
Can we just defer this until after their meeting next week,
I don't think.
other than the number 1?
I think we took care of number 1, and I think that is what Mac is saying, it's like, the impetus for getting these read as we did. Was that they were retroactive, if necessary, for the smaller guys, but so yeah, I think we can. Sort of,
Just circle back up.
yeah, it's not an action item or anything, so we can just circle back on these at our next meeting and see what the progress is, will be updated.
Yeah, I think Ken's point is more of a suggestion that going forward, we ought to have the public hearing before planning commission makes the recommendation.
It's up to us, I mean.
But that way it avoids us having to send stuff back and
The
unnecessarily.
state code gives it to council as default. But it also provides the option to council to delegate it to the planning commission, but if we choose to do so, we have to do it by ordinance. And certain jurisdictions do that. Mount Pleasant does that, but a lot of other jurisdictions like the county and the county of Wyandotte, the council always public. That's the way it's always been.
That's across the ones I represent, that's how we go, Mount Pleasant is unique, and that's.
Make more sense if you have another hearing before the following planning, when get a recommendation from the fence planning, no matter what you're saying, right?
Well, it eliminates the issue of having to send it back if it changes after the public hearing. because their recommendation will be based on the information they received at the public hearing, so they're unless council wants to.
It's like a proper order.
We had this happen on Seabrook Island, and something had to go back to the planning commission 4 times before it was ultimately adopted.
It's like just a matter of course, like before the commission, like if there's a public hearing and something needs to be changed. Then why not have the public hearing prior to, so that the recommendation is after the public hearing heard. I agree, I don't know, what do we have to do to put that in the collective?
With
Yeah.
draft ordinance,
One more
maybe
show.
it'll start ordinance.
Maybe do that now, we have to do that.
We can just, Dan and I can get something
Okay, yeah.
together and propose it to all.
Okay. All right, so I think where we are, we're tracking, you guys are tracking is, number one is important. And we're gonna handle it on the same day as the, that we're having the. Council retreat on February 26th. We're going to go ahead and get number one done, and I think we're going to let, the rest of these ordinances, continue to mature. And we would like to get an ordinance, something we can get back and come up with something where we have a public hearing prior to the planning and recommendations. All right, can we move on to number 14?
Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, thanks, thank you for being present, man. All right, so second reading. Second reading, ordinance 2026-02, an ordinance to amend chapter 30, general provisions. Subsection 30.049, B number 2, citizen presentations, comments to amend the provisions for public comment.
Second.
So let's discuss it. Does anybody have any strong feelings on this? Anybody have any?
I had a concern about the 2-minute thing, but after having read it again, it provides some discretion with cause to the presiding officer to change that.
Right.
So I'm satisfied it's okay.
I saw that too, we talked about it a little bit, and I do think if, that this is the exact same thing I've seen at other town council meetings like Allen Falls and Montpelier, very similar too, about the same. And if you've got 30 minutes for people to talk, and only one person wants to talk, and they need more than 2 minutes, if that's.
It's 3 minutes.
It's 3 minutes,
Yeah.
yeah. I can see there being some allowing that, but if we've got 30 people who want to say something, then we're gonna need to make it more concise, you know. We
Yeah,
gotta follow,
the point of that is really to make sure everybody gets heard.
right,
Because if there's so many people you wanna you may get allocated less time, but it's so that every voice is heard. There's only 2 people, you don't use that provision to say, oh, we don't want to hear you, we're reducing your time to 1 minute. I would not recommend that, you will get.
Yeah. And I also like the way this puts certain. Certain rules around how we're addressed and how we address it.
I guess this also pertain to BCA, planning, those public comments, if it's all commissions, so. That's what.
Hearing public comment, yes.
And my understanding is this is to bring us more, as it says here, in the spirit of FOIA. So that's why you hear it at other councils.
Yeah, so that it's just a thing that the municipal.
Right.
Is municipally common. Any other discussion?
I think 30.049 is, just pertains to council though.
Is that an extended to our other commission and board?
Yeah, I believe it does. Look it up.
Matt, can we vote on it tonight and then we vote to include the others?
Sure, yeah, I'm looking at it now, let's see. Yeah, it does specifically just refer to council. Y'all can change it, persons wishing to make formal reports or requests to the town. You can change it to the town instead of prior to the town meeting. Substitute the word council for town, or just easy fix for us just to amend it later. If y'all want to have it apply to planning commission, BCA, park board, anywhere we get all public comment.
Well, they can do it in their rules.
That's true.
We don't, in fact, I'm of the opinion we shouldn't be telling them how to conduct their meetings. That's for them to decide how they want to do it. This is our meeting.
Yeah.
Good discussion, is there more? All right, well, I guess we've already had the first, have a second, have a discussion, all in favor, of passing ordinance 2026-02, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, so I think we just made a law or something.
We did.
All right, so the next one is ordinance 2026-03, an ordinance to amend chapter 32 boards and commissions and chapter 154 town municipal park. Subsection 154.010 municipal park board to include provisions for board commissions or committee members to be removed by the town council.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Let's discuss. What are you guys thinking about this one?
I think we need it. Some boards and commissions in the state code, for example, the Board of Zoning Appeals, it already has that in the state statute. However, the planning commission, I don't believe it does. And of course, they don't address the park board in the planning act because it's not part of what it covers. I think it's something, I've talked it over to our town council, and it's best that we do have some requirements if we ever find a need that somebody has to be removed from cause.
While y'all are looking at section 154.10, y'all want to go ahead and change the board shall be composed of 9 members, change that to 7, make a friendly amendment, we can deal with that now.
We can do that.
Yeah, you're already taken up the ordinance, it'd just be a friendly motion and to change the number of members 9 to 7.
And just get that done.
Get it done now, rather than deal with it in another meeting, y'all can wait too.
Seven.
Or can we do that? Are we in the process of something else right now?
Well, if you're looking at a change to this ordinance, you could make a friendly amendment, to change the membership.
Oh, yeah, I heard somebody say that one time and I didn't know what it meant. Well, I'll talk about that later. But the proper procedure would be to amend
Correct,
the motion that's on the floor now.
correct. So-
I'll make a motion to amend the motion that's on the floor now to help me out here to.
Change the membership from 9 to 7.
To change the park board membership from 9 members to 7 members.
Second.
Discussion.
So then y'all vote on the motion to amend first.
All right, so all in favor of the motion to amend? Aye. All opposed? Motion to amend carries, and then we,
Go back to the underlying motion as amended and vote on that.
right, does anybody have any further discussion on this? To me, it seems like something that's also municipally common, but not common, but doesn't exist here, so we're adding it here. The removed with cause at that, right? Any further discussion on that? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, we just made another one. All right, so. And then. We both get stickers. So first reading, ordinance 2026-08, annexation ordinance using the 100% petition. Method of tax map number 69-00-00-059 roof straw fill road.
I move to defer this request for legal advice.
Yeah, if y'all recall, this is a parcel we talked about in executive session, and that was brought to my attention today by Councilman Crowder and Mr. Brown, and so I recommend that we defer this one as well.
So the motion on the floor is to defer, do I hear a second?
Second.
All right, discussion, any discussion required for this deferral? All right, hearing none, I'll call the vote, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, ordinance 2026-08 is deferred. Miscellaneous items. I've been watching this BCA, situation for a little bit, and I'm glad to see it on the list here. We need to, we have the appointment to fill the vacancy on the Board of Zoning Appeals. And there's some details around this. In any event, we did put out a notice to receive applications for the board. We received, 3. There was also some discussion. I'm sure, there was some discussion on how long we leave the application process open, because historically it's been left open, like open-ended. So we tamped that down, made it so that it was obviously had time restraints on it. We got 3 applications on time. We found that one of those 3 does not live in Allendale. So it's left us with 2. And I'm happy to, if everybody's tracking with that, I'm happy to open the floor to a motion to appoint a member to the Board of Zoning.
I make a motion to appoint Steve Wood to the BZA to fill a vacancy for the term that expires in July 2026, and to confirm the terms of the other city members of the BZA, which are as follows. Alan Rio, term expires July 2026. Colette Alston Hockaday, term expires July 2026. Gary Freeman, term expires July 2027. And John Brubaker, term expires July 2027.
All right, so we have a motion, we have a motion, we have a second. Let's discuss. Steve is the tall fellow who sits here. He's always here. Right?
Mhm.
Yeah, he's got a lot, I like to think like he's very involved and thankful.
I was impressed with his background and his credentials and everything, competition was hard.
See out of town.
Yeah, he has a Mason meeting tonight. He has he's a Mason, so he has a meeting tonight.
More discussion?
I recommend Brittany White for us, Board of Zoning. How does that work? Can I just recommend Brittany?
Yeah, I think what's the process there? How do we?
So there's a motion on the floor, it's got a second, so you have to vote on that. If that motion doesn't pass, then you can make a motion to have Brittany. Alright.
Any further discussion?
So if you want Brittany, don't vote in favor of his action.
All right, hearing no further discussion, I'll call the vote. All in favor of Steve Wood for appointment to BZA, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Say no.
Yeah, I oppose.
All right, so that's 1 opposed and then for the vote here, so Steve Wood. Just for my clarification, the next time, like we're gonna have to put more people on the BZA coming right up, right? What's the 2026?
We did vote
July
on
1.
it, review, so we can open it up, possibly April and May for applications.
So it's just June, right? So it's.
We need to vote in June so they can be staffed.
And how many spots are open in June?
2.
Well, when does this one expire?
This one also expires in June of this year, but because it's not, the individual will not be serving full term, it could be reappointed to serve a full 2 years. Or somebody else, I mean, that's totally up to council.
Right.
But it doesn't, just because he will be serving for a shorter term and not serving a full term, that doesn't mean that he can't get reappointed in
In
June or July of the year. Yeah, that makes sense.
the thought, we run into this every time, where we're we end up behind schedule. They end up not getting staff when they're turned. So that's why we try to start be more on top of us and have the vote in June. That's why to open up the applications in April, because if we don't have enough, you know, we keep it open until May. Because then you run it, you only open it in May, you don't have anybody apply, and it just keeps getting.
My recommendation is just, let's not think the mistakes that we made.
Right, so that's what I'm saying, open up the applications in April for the next.
We can make sure that we have the application out in time, and as the date of the session, we have make the content. And then we've got three of you can see from June, so we've got folks like Mr. Porte's candidate that is interested. Then we have a.
They would reapply and we vote in June and they're set in July for the next BCA, because the BCA doesn't typically meet every month. Right? I mean, I think 1 year they didn't meet at all.
And all of these except, all of them, well, these two, but not the park commission, it stipulates that people can serve until their replacement is seated. So if you don't have enough votes, then just keep going at it till you get enough votes.
On the BGA board, on how are they appointed?
Yours is 27.
Council.
Yeah,
but it's
So,
All
yeah.
right, so what's on there now, when the term's run out, in, what, June 26th? They can't reapply, what's gonna be?
Yeah.
They can reapply.
Oh,
And if y'all don't reappoint somebody, they continue to serve based on language of the ordinance.
okay.
But service, at least currently, is restricted
Oh, you can
to
do
2
that.
full terms.
It's okay.
All right, over 2
2 year terms, this are 4 years total.
Has everybody had their full
This
say on
one is
this?
not-
We got enough around this?
Who's a bird?
We got 2 more items and then the big third one that everybody's looking forward to. And item D on the miscellaneous items is the consideration and discussion of a volunteer corps for the town of Allendale. That's me. And this is back to the thing where it hurts my feelings for our town to drive Highway 17 on Door Road to this building. Because there's so much garbage and litter and ditch. And if we had a volunteer corps. And then we could keep our town clean, I think that'd be good. I don't know why there isn't one. And I understand that there was some activity like that in the past. I think Mr. Ravenel would. Inspire people to clean up and organize that sort of thing. I will say this before I really need you guys, everybody's input on this because I think it's important. I'm gonna clean that ditch. On Saturday. And that's, and I'm gonna do it with a group of post-traumatic stress affected veterans that I've been working with for about 11 years now, and they know that service is important. And they know what service to others is how they're going service to themselves. And I'm gonna show up and clean that ditch at 2 p.m. with my coastal warriors, and we're gonna get it done. If you care to join us, we'll be happy to see you at 2 p.m. on Saturday. And I don't, and that's all the announcement that there is about it. I just want to see how that goes, how my boys have invited you to come from here. How that goes. I wish I had to say before some people left, but they'll spread the word. 2 p.m. We're gonna clean that ditch and get that clean. We're gonna go for probably till 4 or something like that, and just keep on cleaning until it gets clean. We're not gonna clean everything. We're gonna leave it better than we found it. So that's happening. Otherwise, I'd love to have a board or a committee or something that has a volunteer group in our town. I've mentioned before, so that we know the people that are willing to serve, we know the people that what their skills are. Not everybody's good at picking up trash. And some people are good at other things, maybe clerical skills. Some people are good at carpentry. You know, Lord knows we could use some good carpenters around here, but the shallow well pump, Ron will tell you, the building's falling down. There are a lot of things we could do if we had engaged citizens in our town that be willing to volunteer, and I think we have some. So how do we get that done? How do we, or put some organization around that?
I don't know if you remember, I guess about a year ago. Up at the corner, the studio,
Yeah.
there was a whole bunch of debris that was left behind the studio.
Mhm.
And then finally, and I know some people have their opinions of social media. But there is a forum that has 18,900 members. And there was just a post put out that, hey, guys, hey, and I think they determined a time. We're gonna meet and clean up all that trash that was left behind the building. And it got done. And it was just a post on social media. So social media has a place.
Well, in the past, we've always had a cleanup day.
Yeah.
We've always scheduled cleanup days, mostly in the springtime, wherever, so. The council, we can just schedule a cleanup day, and citizens in that particular area, you just gather together and. Take you to your area, to give you a road, and from gather here, and have some hot dogs and chips or whatever you just might be in. And someone, this one come up and pick up the bags and all, we've always had things.
Let's get it going.
That's
figure out- I love that idea.
That's
Easy.
That's the low hanging fruits. That's easy.
I'm gonna try to give you supplies.
Yeah, it's going. That's all the best ones.
And the Friends is marrying cleanup this Saturday as well.
Yeah, we're doing that first.
Oh, she's.
And then we're coming here after that.
So if anyone's interested,
These are better.
Friends is marrying cleanup, I'm gonna try. Times this Saturday, so.
Yeah.
One aspect of that is, looks like a lot of these pipes, most of them are reinforced concrete pipe, like one out here, across our driveway, are clogged up. So I mean, you can clean all the trash out of the ditch, but when it rains again, it's just gonna fill up with water. And a lot of the debris is kind of hidden, it's overgrown, but when the ditch fills up with water, it flows to the top.
Right.
But this might be something that we would consider in our budget to treat too, was somehow putting some money to get someone to clean those pipes out, so at least you get water flow under these driveways.
Right.
Because a lot of them, they don't, but the ditches act kind of like a mini detention pond, they're just what it is right there. And the water has no place to go.
Is that the best place to sort of like talk about this volunteer for, like we put some money and buy like Spike was saying, some hot dogs, chips or whatever, to have a gathering after everybody, after cleanup day. I was like, that'd be a great start, to have cleanup day and we gathering after it. Like my mind was like.
Would this be better something to flesh out at our council retreat?
Might have been more, it was like more, I was thinking more like complicated, I'm always complicated things. But where we had list of carpenters, list of, like volunteers, and we came together and did stuff, but. Yeah, I'm serious about it, I'd love to see it happen, as a matter of fact, I'm going to see it happen on Saturday at 2:00. But maybe the council retreat's a better place to sort of flesh it out and get the budget decided for it.
I'll be glad to call on that Friday between now and then and just find out what's involved in getting.
Yeah,
That makes it kind of just pick up this.
It's like it's coming with bags and stickers and stuff for Saturday, but Dollar Friday's a great organization. All right, any further discussion on the volunteer, the mayor's wish or volunteer for it? I'd love to revive that. Cleanup day, at least, for a good start. All right, and then consideration and discussion of creating a housing department and restructuring of the housing program. In addition to CDBG funds received, so CDBG. I don't know why I can't say those letters in a row, but we're actually. If I'm not reading them, but Loella Smalls is the director of the community block development, Frank, but they're right. community development block grants. And we had a great meeting with Ms. Smalls. And I got some, specifics on the housing department, which was, which had to do with, the housing and urban development and the great work that, that Mayor Green has done over time. The 3 years worth of funding and the $87,000. We talked about what makes you eligible to receive those type of funds and the median income range and the environmental review. We talked about the limits that you can spend on any one project. We talked about the projects they like and the projects they don't like. And the next sort of bit of money that is waiting for us to spend on the people that need it in our town. And when we went door to door and were campaigning, I think we all saw things we didn't know about our town. And it had to do with poverty. And we all came back, we were all moved by that, maybe the most thing that we were moved by. I remember talking about it and saying we're gonna do something about it. So what I would like to suggest is that we take our housing project and turn it into a housing department. And that we really get it some robust attention and create some organization around it and start incorporating other organizations besides just the just something. And but there's Operation Home, there's Homeworks, there's Charleston Habitat for Humanity, there's Metanoia is involved, the state through CAP is involved, the South Carolina Trust Fund. There's the Trident United Way is doing the poverty index document where they'll come in and look and that's the first thing we need is where is the need, how pervasive is the need, and then we can work a plan. But I think Ms. Donna has been working really hard on it for years and understands it much better than probably I ever will. But the vision of creating a model that in an open source municipal way can be emulated by other communities that also have this need. I think I'd really like to work with this council this year, first priority, to create a robust housing department.
So have we in the past worked with the Safe Home grant program? They, I saw a sentence spread, there was an article in the Post Courier, South Carolina Safe Home Grant Program, helping people pay for roof replacements and make them hurricane resistant. Applications could be different.
So
Is that something we could? Do we have a way to communicate with anyone who's applied that, let's say they applied for a roof, like, okay, well, we run out of money. Is there, like, do you have like a running contact list where we can reach back out to them and say, hey, here's another resource you might be able to get your roof replaced?
we have a limited list. And that one is not on it.
I'm talking about like the people who like the applicants, like was there a way for us to, like if we've never used this program, like, oh, maybe this is new, let's share with them. Like,
It's not for, underserved people. It's basically what they do is the grant will pay for an upgrade to replacing your roof, but you have to pay for replacing your roof. What they will do is come in and upgrade the straps, the shingles, the sheathing, that kind of stuff. I did it myself with my house, but it's
this grant.
yes, it doesn't help anybody that doesn't have the money that can't afford to replace their roof. What it does is it makes your roof better and stronger, but you still have to pay. So instead of paying $10,000 for what you, as I said, it pays for upgrading shingles and strapping and sheathing and things of that nature. So it makes a better, stronger roof for the same price that you would pay just to say, get your shingles replaced.
So, once again, I don't know if you all noticed on social media this past week. A need was identified, and I don't know where, probably somewhere in the north end of Charleston County. That a roof needed to be replaced. It was a 1,700 square foot roof. Once again, some people rose to the occasion. I followed up with the gentleman that posted. He's got some of the materials donated. Someone pledged to pick up the remainder of what needed to be donated. But they estimated it was gonna cost, in addition to the donated material and labor, $5,000 of an actual skilled contractor work, and it was getting done. As recently as this morning, a number of local contractors had breakfast and discussed putting together a kind of a grassroots neighbor helping neighbor program. It's kind of ad hoc, it's, you know, it is by design, not over organized. Although, there was a 5-county version of this that serves as an umbrella. It's a 5013C. So there are other people talking about this. In my opinion, if there's a need, the solution to that need comes from 3 places. The municipal government programs that are available, that Donna just works hard to get processed. The local churches, and then the grassroots, in this case, the contractor community. I'm supporting this, I'm involved in this, but I'm separating myself from it because I think it needs to be separated and of its own silo from what we're doing, except that somehow a conduit needs to be developed where, Donna, you share people that you know of that are on your list that have a need. Because again, I think the solution to those needs comes from 3 places. Anyway, this is happening, like I said, as recently as this morning, some local contractors have been putting, hands and feet.
So what I'm wondering is this, we have a park board, right? Then we have a housing board. We have a group of people that find out things like what Mr. Brown is saying, even if that grant situation isn't yet, that's interesting information. I'm sure they have contact. You know, there are other organizations that we don't currently work with that are nonprofits. Including the assessment Friday United. Is it beyond the scope, is it beyond what we're willing to do to create a board that is a housing board and create a housing department that isn't a housing project?
You talk about 2 different things. I fully support, a housing department. In fact, it appears to me, from the little bit that I know about it, that's exactly what we've had since the beginning. It's just never been formalized through an ordinance like it's supposed to be required by state law. Any agency, department, or another thing that says in the code is supposed to be adopted by an ordinance, and it would have structure. There would actually be a department that would have employee or employees, and it would be spelled out in the ordinance of duties and responsibilities and things like that. That's like a board of zoning appeals, or, well, not even that, because that's a board. This would actually be a department of the town. Right. And what the other would be, I guess you could do that. I'm not really aware of everybody that does do that. It seems like what we've been doing all along is working with a dedicated funding source through this CDBG money, and it's really hard to say. And we fund that through our budget. And put a certain amount in there and the work gets done, if it's done correctly and paperwork filled out correctly, then we get reimbursed from that. Those are all 100% reimbursable grants.
Right.
But we get the money back, so it's kind of like a revolving fund. We spend it, they give it back to us.
Right.
But from what I understand, there are also other entities out there that have been mentioned, that you mentioned, that those are other government entities, and they deal with recipients of their services. The town doesn't have anything to do with it, other than the fact of acting as a facilitator to that process.
Great.
And a lot of folks, as you've said, anybody that's gone door to door has seen it. A lot of those folks don't know how to interact with those service agencies. And the town has been the facilitator, the middle person, right? To help them get it done. So that's what I think that you talked about. That's what I think we need to do, but it needs to be in a more formalized setting than what it is now.
So how do we start that process?
I think we flesh it out even further at our council retreat.
And then.
And we have an actual ordinance to
It
establish.
doesn't have an ordinance. Our housing project doesn't have an ordinance.
No, it's not officially established
We have
as an
ordinance
agency,
established.
so a department of the town.
And we could,
And there are a lot of other resources out there, as Mr. Brown has said, and Frank Fraser knows about them too, they're not government agencies. But the town could sort of be more, if nothing else, a clearinghouse for that. So
Well,
they,
they're working in concert, but they are separate.
Right.
All the ordinances and stuff you're talking about, they're not doing that.
well, no, I'm just saying that we established a department of the town
Communication,
that has three functions, all right?
Yeah.
It gets the money from HUD through the state, through the county. I mean, that's a dedicated pot of money that we get every year. And then there are these other agencies that the town acts as a facilitator through the application process and helping them move along to where they're doing stuff right, so they can get the money to get the work done. And then there's the other thing that you're talking about.
what I'm talking, and then there's the church.
That too,
benevolence funds
yes.
With the church.
That too.
Right.
And
It's
the
three
town,
pronged.
and the town could just sort of act as a facilitator for those other parts that aren't, government check the box, dot the T, cross the I, that kind of stuff.
An example, there's a group, I believe they're in somewhere in the Tri-County area, but they did a fundraiser and they got $50,000 in their offers to help fund some of these projects.
And I think it's a fantastic idea, but
I think so too. We don't pretty much, I think we're all in agreement. It's a fantastic idea. I think the work needs to be done, as I understand it, at our board retreat, which we have scheduled, right? Like, and there's a legacy in all, the history of all this. And I know that the former mayor, Mary Brady, was very proud of the housing department in this town. He's done a great job with all of that. I mean, just what we're talking about is making it even better, picking up in advance and, I'm looking forward to discussing more. Anybody got anything else for the good of the town law? No. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Got a second? All in favor? All done. Thank you for your time, everybody.